Hello, Dave here with emergencyprepguy.com. I appreciate you stopping by. Today's a video that I've wanted to do for a while. I just had to get everything done first. And that is I wanted to show you the improvements that I've made in my Mittleider garden. So I've built four 30-foot Mittleider garden beds and two 30-foot long T-frames. And I've built the Mittleider automatic watering system. Anyway, I'll show you that in a minute. I didn't film the building process of that like I normally had, mainly because I was, when I filmed the building process, setting up the camera and all of that, it just it slows down the building process, and I was kind of in a hurry because our last frost date was coming up and I needed to get it done so I could get things planted. So I apologize for that, but if you want to know how to build the Mittleider raised garden beds, T-frames, or watering system, first I'll put a link right here to when I built those structures in the greenhouse. You can watch that because the process is exactly the same. So I show that in there, and also I'll put a link below this video to the Mittleider garden book. Everything's in there. All I did was follow the book. So we'll get into that. First, what I thought I would do is take you around just so you guys kind of get an update. Just real quickly, I'll take you around as I do my morning chores here with the animals and stuff, and then we'll start looking at the garden. Okay, so when I come out in the morning, first thing I always check on, obviously, is the animals to make sure that they're doing good. I know the chicken coop, I know their feeder is full of, I just filled that up a couple days ago, so I won't have to feed them for a long time. And I just filled up the automatic watering system just, I think yesterday, so I know I won't have to fill it up for a couple weeks. And then, so main thing I got to do is check the rabbits' feed. So what I'll do is, these little guys are going through the pellets. These guys are ready to process, which in a way makes me really sad. I try not to get attached to them, but they're super cute. These ones here are all bucks. Out of that litter, it was kind of interesting. She had seven bunnies, and 6 of them were bucks. But anyway, so they're old enough, their hormones are starting to go. This is the only little doe out of that litter. Hi, sweetheart. And so I have her separated so she doesn't get bred, because hormones could start happening at this age. I weighed them, they're all well over 5 pounds. Most of them are over 6 pounds. So they're ready to be processed. I just got to set aside a day pretty quick and do it. So here's the mom. She's the mother. This is my New Zealand doe. She's their mother, and this is her next litter. I just took the wean. They're about 4 weeks old. I just took the nest box out because they were not spending any time in it anyway, and so I went ahead and took it out. Now these bunnies are, obviously this is their mother, but these guys are their half siblings, because this guy here is the daddy. If you can get it without a glare. Hi, buddy. He's like, when do I get my cage back? Anyway, so these guys are doing good. My white and black, or white and gray standard Rex doe, I sold her the other day, which is why I had room to separate this little girl from her brothers. And this little nice mama, she was willing to take all of the babies from, she had 6 babies, and the standard Rex doe, I thought the standard Rex doe had 5. I must have miscounted, but they both had 6. So anyway, there's a lot of bunnies in here. So as soon as I get these guys down here processed, I'll have more cage space to give this little mama girl a break. These guys are old enough to wean. They're like 6 weeks, I think, something like that. So to feed these guys, what I do is as I pull those up like that, she doesn't need any. These guys, oh yeah, they're bone dry. Okay, so let's see, we need this little feed scooper. Hi ladies. I don't know if you can see the young, those are the younger chickens over there. They're part of the flock. You can see they can reach the food. I got a little step spot for them. Anyway. So here's where I keep their feed, kind of in the shade back here. One scoop will do the $6 for a day. Those guys want me to let them out. Oop. There you go, guys. Chow time. One more trip and we should be good. With everything being so automated except the rabbits, you know, the checker partridges. I have a new batch of checker partridges, by the way. Checker partridges and the quail, their feeders are full, so I don't have to worry about feeding them. Just the rabbits is what I feed every day. Okay, guys, chow time. Now I'll have to give them about half that much again towards the end of the day. That's how much they're going through. Now for the buck, what I do is I just grab this little bucket here, just because when I don't have babies, this is what I feed the rabbits with, because it keeps it nice and close and I don't have to go down with the big scoop. But when I got that many, then it's easier to go down there and get it. But this is how much I feed the buck, just 1 cup. And a little bit. If he has a little bit left over, then I just give him 1 cup. And if it's all gone when I come, then I'll give him just a little bit extra. So yesterday I gave him just 1 cup, so that's all. He had a little left over, so he should be good. I'll have to fill up his water. Probably later today I'll do that. He goes through that about every 3 days. And that's pretty much it for the animals, other than I just want to check on them and see how they're doing. Looks like they got plenty of feed in there. I like to just look, make sure nobody's sick or having problems. Looks like everybody's good. And then the checkers. Hi guys, how's everybody doing? They're cute little buggers. Just make sure nobody's sick or nothing. Now with the chickens, there really isn't anything to do. You can see I gave them some watermelon rinds yesterday. Looks like they're about done with those. I'll have to probably get those out of there. Okay, I'm gonna show you how excited they get when they come out. Let's see if I can back up so you can see them better. Okay guys, come on out. Go have fun, be free. Come on girls, you can go. Go have fun. Yay. Hard doing things when I'm holding the camera. Okay, so that's pretty much my chores with the animals. Now let's head over to the garden. So I want to show you one thing over here on the bees really quick. You can see I put the first honey super. This is my main hive, and I didn't do a video on it, but I split the hive. I found the queen. I made sure I left her the frame that she's on in this one, and but I took a couple of the frames that had pollen and honey on it, left a couple of them in this one, so they had some too, but I took some to put over in this one to give them more resources, and then I also took a couple that had eggs and larvae, and I kept all of the bees and everything on it and moved them over here. And how that works is when you're splitting a hive, any foraging bees that are on the frames that go here, they'll come out to go forage, and then when they come back, they're used to coming back into this hive, so they'll come back into this hive. So you lose the foraging bees, but the younger nurse bees stay in here to take care of the baby, and and the brood, the babies, and as the brood grow, more nurse bees. It's always the younger bees that are the nurse bees, and so as there's more nurse bees, then some of the other nurse bees graduate to become foraging bees, and then they leave from here and they come back to here because this is that's when they first start being a foraging bee. Anyway, I'll show you over here. And then I had ordered a queen, and so yesterday I took this frame apart and I stuck the queen. They come in a little plastic cage with 3 or 4 helper bees that take care of the queen in there. And you don't want to just release them into the hive, because a lot of times if they reject the queen, they'll kill her. And so anyway, what I did is I left her in the cage, and just hung it on a piece of wire over one of the frames, and so it's in there, and all of the bees were going around it because they pick up on her pheromones that she's a queen. And I did that yesterday. So in 5 days, I got to leave it in there 5 days. By 5 days, normally they will have gotten used to that, because there's no queen in that batch except her. And so after 5 days, they'll have adjusted to her, and then you can release her and she'll be the queen of that colony. So anyway, I might do a video on that. Okay, so let's get over to the garden. First, I want to show you, you can see that there's a few weeds coming up. The reason that is because when I put down the paper to put the bark down, I did that before I built the frames and the T-structures, and walking on, and it had rained a few days before I built all of this stuff, and so walking around all of that, and I had to rake the bark out of the way to situate the frames on the ground. Anyway, it tore the paper and left some holes, and that's why there's some weeds coming up. And I'm not going to film this process, but what I got to do is I'll show you over here. Right here, this is the leftover from the paper, the butcher paper that I had from Costco. Basically what I'll do, wherever there's weeds out there, I'll do this probably later today or tomorrow. I'll just move the bark out of the way back down to the paper that's under the bark, and I'll probably cut the weed off and just cut a square of this and lay over top the hole that the weed's growing through, and then the weed shouldn't be able to grow through anymore. Just my normal walking up and down shouldn't tear the paper, but there's a lot. I was carrying heavy things and setting heavy things on it, and that's what caused it to get as many tears as it had in it. But that's what I'm going to do, is just whenever I see a weed pop up, I'm just going to move the bark, cover it with another piece of paper, and eventually all of the weeds under that should be dead, and that should work. Okay, so let's show you the garden. You can see I built a gate around it so that I could let the chickens free range, a chicken wire fence, I should say. And I've got everything planted in these rows. The purpose of these T-structures, hopefully it's not too glary with the direction of the sun, but I can actually turn these two T-frames. I can put PVC hoops across the top. The Mittleider garden book has a plan for that in their book. And then you drape greenhouse plastic over it, over the front and over the sides, over the hoop. And that way you can extend the season if you want to. You can kind of turn this into a little in the garden greenhouse. Not sure if I'm going to do that or need to do that. Probably, I don't know. Because I also have, if you can see, the stakes out here that are along the sides of the grow beds. Instead of using wooden stakes like I used on the beds in the greenhouse, out here I have the plastic there. It's the 3/4 inch, 200 PSI, cut at 15 inches, and that's what I nailed those stakes. And over here I have some 1/2 inch PVC pipe. I still got some 3/4 inch left over, but most of that is 1/2 inch PVC pipe that I'm going to build. I'll put a picture up of what I'm talking about here, but I'm going to build some little A-frames that you can basically cover each row to extend the season as well. So that may be all that I do, depending on, or I may do eventually I'll probably do the in the garden greenhouse, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that this summer or not. So let's show you the automatic watering system here. I don't have an automatic sprinkler system here in this yard. To be honest, I'm a little bit projected out. So I'm probably not going to put a sprinkler system in until the spring. I may get ambitious and do it this fall, but I'm probably not going to do it till the spring. Just means I got to run the sprinkler around the yard to keep it, watering it by hand. But anyway, once I put in a sprinkler system here, then I can make this its own zone, and or I can even put valves to make each bed at their own zone if I want to. We'll get to that, cross that hurdle when we get to it. But for right now, it works just fine. But I just got to hook up a garden hose to it. Okay, you can see I got the hose hooked up. Now I'll turn it on and I'll meet you in the garden and show you how I run the garden. Hi girl, how are you? Hi sweetheart. Okay, I gotta get those weeds covered. Okay, so here's the hose is hooked up there, the water's on. You can see I've got valves at the end of each bed, and they're all turned off. And so basically what I do, we'll just start with this one here. I just turn it on. And you can see it fills up. I had just done their weekly feed. I'd spread the weekly feed down there. So the water usually takes a couple of waterings to get it all the way into the garden bed. You can see up here some of this is already dissolved. But on there I've just got, every 4 inches I've got 3 holes. One that goes 45 degrees this way, one that goes 45 degrees the other way, and then one that goes straight down or close to straight down. And that just waters the bed. So then the idea behind watering this is, it's with the Mittleider beds like this sitting right on top of the ground, it's it's pretty much impossible to overwater, because when the dirt or the soil gets too saturated, the water will leak out from under the bed. Where I have bark here, it's hard for me to see that. Most people don't, but I had grass, so I had to get rid of the grass. But anyway, so I've been running at about 5 minutes on each bed with the low amount of water pressure that I have here. That seems to be about right to get the bed saturated. So anyway, we'll let this go, and then I'll come back when it's time to switch to the next bed. One thing I do want to say is when I put in the sprinkler system, I'll actually bury this section of pipe under the ground. That'll just make everything a little bit more stable. But I didn't want to do that yet because I'm doing it with a garden hose. But that's how it will be eventually, and then I'll have it where either each bed is a zone, or just the whole garden, depending on the water pressure that I have, or just the whole garden is one zone. We'll see how that works out. But also, while I'm waiting here, I just want you to see how wonderful that is. It just very evenly spreads the water under the leaf level, so you don't want to water on top of the leaves, because that can cause fungus and disease on the plants. So it just evenly waters the beds. I really am excited about it. Looks like we're at about 3 minutes. So 2 more minutes and we'll switch to the next bed. Again, how to build this Mittleider automatic watering system. Of course, they recommend you bury that in the ground and hook it up on sprinkler zones like I'll eventually do. But the instructions for all of that is in the Mittleider garden book, which again I'll link to below this video, just in case that's helpful for anybody. Okay, it's been a little bit over 5 minutes, so to switch this, I just come over here. Let's see which way. I turn that one on. I turn this one off, and I let that one run for 5 minutes. And that's what I just do with each bed all the way along. Now, I don't know if you can see over here, I've got potatoes starting to come up. This whole row I planted with potatoes. I'm going off of memory here. I have a chart where I have it all marked out. These ones I have, I think, beets at this end, and then so beets, just a little bit extra end that I had there. I had some extra space, so I put beets there. I love beets. My wife's not a big fan of beets. But anyway, then I have a bunch of white bulb onions there, and then a bunch of red. That's our favorite, is red onions there. And then you can see I got peppers that I transplanted down there. This little guy here looks kind of rough. When I was watering by hand before I had the system in here, I goofed up and the hose hit him really bad, is what caused him to look rough like that. But it looks like he's gonna make it. But anyway, I don't really remember what's in here. I don't remember. But anyway, over here I know I have a bunch of corn and a bunch of pole beans, and I think some beets, and I have a bunch of spinach. And then back here I have those tomatoes, then I have some watermelon, some cantaloupe, some eggplant, some cucumbers. Anyway, as they start growing, I'll show you what I have throughout. It's not that exciting now anyway, but yeah, this whole system, you know, once I have all the holes patched up under the bark and I don't have to deal with weeds, you know, you should have very, very few weeds in a system like this. So it's, you know, I'm all about low maintenance. So I'm excited about, plus, like I said, with the Mittleider gardening system, the friend of mine, David Gilmore from LDS Prepper, his wife was master gardener before, and this method outproduces what they did before 6 to 1 as far as the amount of food that it produces for the space. So he calls the Mittleider garden system, gives you the ability to grow food like your life depended on it. So all of this watering that I'm doing, when I have a sprinkler system in, it'll all be automatic and I can set the times and everything. Then I won't have to do this manually. But it's kind of fun right now. It's kind of teaching me, you know, how much I need to fill each bed and so forth. You can see, since I filmed my other video, the water's down. Hopefully you can see it, the level of the water down there. So that's about 2 days worth. I might have watered it a little too much. So it's gonna last, I think this will last me probably a week before I have to fill this up. And the nice thing, where they're all connected at the bottom, I just fill up one, and as it fills up the other two. So it's not like I have to fill up 3 different buckets. So in the winter, I imagine this will last me longer than a week. In the summer, it'll last me less than a week. Let's turn on this one. I've got the valve there already turned on, so I can just turn this one on here. You can see it takes a second, it goes on. I'll let that run probably for about 3 minutes. Seems to be enough to get this filled up in here. And then I'll turn that valve off, turn that valve on, and do that bed. Okay, so this one here is just coming up on 5 minutes. I've already done the ones in the greenhouse. I kind of do them at the same time as I've been doing these. So watering all of this by hand like this, you know, with 5 minutes each row, takes me 20 minutes. So this one here is done, so let's turn this one off. Okay, well, I hope that was interesting. I appreciate you watching the video all the way to the end. Again, if you want to help this channel, I really appreciate it. Share this on your social media. That helps us more than anything. The next most important thing would be liking it. That helps with the Google algorithm. And as always, if you like this kind of content, we'd love to have you subscribe. So again, I really appreciate you watching the video. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you in the next video.